I'm JP Sears. I'm the CEO of Cancel Culture. And today, because of his new special, we're officially canceling Dave Chappelle. Every year or two, when Chappelle releases a new special, we go into red alert. It's like the Olympics for us at Cancel Culture. It's what we've been training all year for. And we've never been successful at canceling him in the past, but that's not going to stop us from trying this time.
Special seems like the outrage continues. It seems like, I don't want to speak too soon, but it seems like this might be the tipping point.
Yes.
It seems like the executives might have realized that they could push back and there will be more support in their pushback than there will be in their cancellation. And I think Chappelle is an example of someone who's too big to fail.
Right.
In other words, like at the end of the day, like these people are capitalists, right? They're not moralists, they're capitalists, right? So as they should be, they exist in a capitalist country. And when we're talking about like saying words and saying jokes, you're not, listen, I'm not going to define like how you're actually hurting somebody, but you're not basically saying you are not equal to other people. Right. Right? Being spoken about is different than treating someone actually differently in terms of like the law. Like if the head of Netflix came out and said like, yeah, we just don't do any trans shows on this platform, that would be wrong. Right. But if the head of Netflix is like, hey, we have jokes about black people, we have jokes about Jews, we have jokes about Puerto Ricans, we have jokes about Asians, everybody gets joked about on this platform, including trans, there is more consistency, even if you're outraged. All of those groups can also be outraged. Correct. But he is big enough where it's worth the scrutiny.
Yes.
And maybe that's unfortunate for like a younger comic coming up, but at the same time, you get to look at it and you go, oh shit, there's a tipping point. Yeah. I can get successful enough to say what the fuck I want.
A lot of our most elite cancel culture revolutionaries have taken not just to their blogs that have a readership of dozens of people, but they're also hitting the comment section and social media hard right now. Since he released his special, we're in an all-out war with Dave Chappelle's comedy, and we're pointing out obvious things, like he has bad joke structure, his jokes are predictable, and his comedy is nothing but lazy. And for his sake, I personally hope Dave listens to all of our non-comedian activists' critique of his comedy. So one day, maybe the greatest comedian of all time will become a good comedian.
When Sticks and Stones came out, a lot of people in the trans community were furious with me. And the hardest thing for a person to do is go against their tribe. But Daphne did that for me. And when she did that, the trans community dragged that bitch all over Twitter. But 6 days after that wonderful night I described to you, my friend Daphne killed herself. I don't know if it was them dragging her, I don't know what's going on in her life, but I bet dragging her didn't help.
This is a good conversation.
What you mean?
It sparks a really good conversation because, you can't tell people how to react and you can't tell people, what should and shouldn't offend them. But I wonder if the folks who are outraged know that their intentions are actually malicious. Dave Chappelle's are not. So Dave says something, his intention is to be funny. You reply to Dave, but your intention is actually to be hurtful because you feel Dave hurt you. Well, what if that hurt you were projecting that you took out on Dave and Daphne contributed to her taking her life?
Now, Daphne's sisters have since defended Dave Chappelle. They said Dave loved my sister and is an LGBTQ ally. His entire set was begging to end this very situation. And what he's saying to the LGBTQ family is, I see you. Do you see me? I'm mourning my friend in the best way I know how. Can you see me? Can you allow me that? And she called the set a call to come together. And according to other messages, Becky, who is Daphne's sister, also said she did not find his jokes rude, crude, off-coloring, off-putting, anything. She thought his jokes were funny. And Daphne understood humor and comedy. She was not offended. Why would her family be offended? So that is the family speaking out.
The idea that Chappelle actually loves and honors people in the trans community and is simply using his comedy to point out a few areas where objective reality has been lost sight of is something our chief nuance officer is taking a look at. Looks like that's not what he's doing, according to us. Some people believe it, though, and think Chappelle is dedicated to serving humanity by helping them connect to truth in areas where they need it. But someone who didn't like the soulless lack of truth in Hollywood so much so that he walked away from a $50 million contract because truth and authenticity mattered more to him, probably wouldn't do something like that.
Believe it or not,
There are some people out there who just want to break all the beautiful things in the world. And these people want Netflix right bloody now to cancel Dave Chappelle, remove the special. They want him to apologise and disappear from the world. Critics are filthy. News publications are screaming from the rooftops. People all over the internet cannot believe that a giant streaming platform like Netflix would allow another straight white Dave's black. Dave is black. So that means he must have done something real bloody bad. You may be thinking, well, if the Twitter people and the internet folk are going after Dave Chappelle, a person of colour, he must have done something unconscionable, unbelievable and terrible, like sacrificing a child live on stage. A disabled child at that. But no, it's worse. Netflix is facing calls to drop the comedian special, The Closer, after his latest comments about transgender people. Oh, people are mad. This comes from NPR. In his new Netflix special, Dave Chappelle tries and often fails to justify button-pushing jokes about gay people, trans people, and feminists. Writes critic Eric Deggans. Hey, Eric Deggans, fuck you to the moon.
Special, we found it very inappropriate that Dave Chappelle used his comedy performance to speak his mind instead of our mind, and therefore we found it very hateful. Here at Cancel Culture, we know the facts, and the facts are Dave Chappelle is not funny, men can give birth, water is dry, and fire is wet. Let's not be stupid here.
This is what we're talking about when people mention cancel culture. You'll have some people, and I used to get bothered with Bill Burr saying, there's like two guys in the audience, they get over it, right? It's not about two guys in the audience. It's about some people in a position of power who really don't deserve to be in that position of power, amplifying their voice to try and take away your livelihood. It's about comedians going and complaining to the booker so you never get stage time. No one is arguing that these people are the majority. No one is arguing that, by the way, a white, straight male who produces a show from the Black American point of view titled Dear White People, who only transitioned more at December 2020, went from this to this. Right? So it's a straight white male canceling a black man. No one is arguing that that is the majority. Unfortunately, they are in positions of power to dictate what you, the majority, get to watch. So when people say it's not a thing, it's accountability culture, no, it's not. It's not. It's people who get furious at somebody for making a joke about biological sex and then go to the most powerful network in the world where they happen to be a showrunner for, I don't know if it's popular, but certainly one of their hallmark shows, Dear White People, saying, I'm not going to do any work for you until you fire this guy for having a different point of view. Can anyone imagine it going the other way? Like, Netflix, if Dave Chappelle said, I'm not going to finish my contract with you until you take away the pro-transgender agenda pieces that you push on kids. I'm not going to give you anything at Netflix until you take away girls twerking in booty shorts. Yeah. How about that? No, you can never imagine this going the other way.
It's also the perfect group to pick to be canceled for because the majority of people truly don't understand trans. So people do understand gay, even if they don't like it. They understand it.
Right.
They empathize with it. They have an uncle that's gay. They have a cousin that's gay. They have a friend that's gay. There's something about homosexuality that's just way more understandable. They've seen characters in their favorite TV shows that are gay. They understand it.
You probably have a gay family member.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. An uncle was gay. A cousin was
my
gay.
bad, yeah.
So it's just way more digestible, homosexuality. So when you're saying something that the gay community is offering pushback for, all of a sudden you start thinking about that human being that you know and love.
Yes.
Right? Trans is so foreign to the average person.
Right.
Like, I know, Mark, you said you have a trans friend, but like, anybody else here have not only trans, but like a trans person in any way in their life?
Yep.
Who?
Mark's friend that he just said that he knows.
Anyway, I meant like someone that you personally interact with. It could be literally the person that serves you coffee at your favorite diner.
Yeah, no, not at all.
It is such a small part of the population
Yeah.
that occupies such a large part of the conversation, right?
Right.
Because I'm sure it's thrown into this culture war a little bit, but it's the perfect group that if you have to get canceled for something, because the majority of people, we're not talking about industry, the majority of people have no fucking clue what the trans thing is.
Right.
So they're kind of like, I don't really care what you say.
Right. It's like getting canceled for like the Hmong Chinese population. It's like, how many is that?
Exactly. So now if you're a network exec, you're like, hold on, I'm going to cancel the biggest comedian for a group of people that don't even got a Netflix account. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I 0.1% of Netflix accounts are from this community. I'm going to cancel my biggest comic for that?
Yeah.
I'm a capitalist.
Right.
And that don't make no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.